pricing is product strategy, not a sales tactic, there are two things to point out. Sales owns the customer relationships in a lot of companies, right? That's just the way it is, Like, that's not to dump Tupac on you this early in the podcast, but that's just the way it is. Some things are never going to change in these organizations. Sales needs every lever and pulley and wheel and dial or whatever for negotiation tactics that they can leverage to get the sale. There's plenty of people out there that will say, if we're not selling, we basically don't have a business, and then everything collapses. So this is a strong one.
Off at that point.
The other side of that is finance owns the revenue model and the margin requirements, and they're the ones coming down and saying, like, you have to have 60% profitability or 70% profit, whatever it is. Like in the AI world, everyone is like scraping 60% from the bottom of the barrel over here with their unbridled token
Unbridled,
use.
yes, exactly what it is. All the burnt bits are left.
So those are the two things. Like finance has got numbers, and they're just like drawing the line in the sand. There's no budging there. And then on the other side, like sales is pulling all the wheels and levers and dials or whatever. So like, how can you ever set any kind of thing based on research when they get to do whatever they want? You know that, and it sounds crazy to say, but my experience tells me most companies are like that.
They are. So the poor product manager basically has their hand tied behind their back, tied in a sack and chucked into the deep Pacific. So how do you get out of this, right? I mean, this is the rest of this podcast. But two things I want to say here as far as the steel end. So finance have their guidance for what it takes to stay above water. They're going to invest a certain amount of funding over a period of time, and they will figure out what needs to be done in terms of how much money needs to be made for this product to be quote unquote successful. Yes. And what that looks like in practice would be things like, what's the net present value of this thing, considering, let's say, a time period of 3-5 years, whatever your product is. Things are liable to change. The competitive landscape changes. New technologies come out, new competitors come out. You can't just say a year before today, here's our target, and we're going to just go after that blindly. Yeah. You have to keep your eyes peeled left and right to see what's going on. But finance doesn't do that, typically. A product manager who has awareness of these kinds of financial ratios, they have their finger on the pulse, first of all, right? Because they own the product. But they also know the segmentation that exists in your market. Right. Based on that, your margins could differ. Probably should if you have multiple segments, right? So the product manager, I would argue, is ideally positioned to deliver to the guidelines that finance has dictated. Occasionally, you will find that if it's a product that is groundbreaking, that there is no competition for it. This is just an innovation. You're the first one on the market with it. There's nothing to go on. Then finance is not going to have that. All they're going to have is just simply a return on investment or return on capital employed, those kinds of ratios, right? So there are these factors to consider. Now, I started talking about you being like new to the market with a new product. So let's just take that to the other extreme, right? Mm-hmm. You're an innovator. You came up with an idea. You don't have a product yet, but you need some seed round funding. So you secure some funding from a VC. What are they going to do? I mean, they're putting money into the picture here. Right? And so what ratios are they using over what timeline? Yeah. In practice, honestly, most VCs will just use analogous projects or products that they've financed before and say, this amount of money over this period of time should net roughly between X and Y. You don't even have your market defined yet. So how do you navigate these choppy waters? A savvy product manager could define the path in this situation based on the segments that they're targeting. Yeah. But they have to have financial wherewithal.
What I think I heard was product managers conduct the research and they make their pricing decisions based on positioning and customer research and customer selection. Like maybe competitor analysis is involved in this, but like I always heard in pricing, there's a principle that you want to be close to your competitor. Like you never want to be real underneath your competitors. You want to be close to them or way above them, because then you can position yourself as a luxury brand. But the point is, like, your pricing and your marketing then merge together to become this special thing. So it's like it's positioning. That your product positioning goes along with your pricing in that instance. And again, I don't know, maybe your salespeople can do that, and maybe they have the marketing talent to do that as well. But you're basically your product. It strikes me in what I just said. That strikes me as product delegating this market research and pricing and all that kind of stuff off to sales, not the other way around. It's like product's got to beg to be involved in that kind of thing.
I don't think it has to be binary like that. I think sales and product can work together, and the pricing strategy will vary per product, or at least per product line. So yeah, I agree that you want to be on the radar when it comes to your competitors, but not always. You could be feature driven to a certain degree. If you have an edge on the market with things that you're bringing up in your product that no one else has, maybe you can have a bit of a premium differential on your pricing. But it depends, right? I mean, product alone will not be able to do this, and sales alone will not be able to do this.
A